Hey, it's Drybear. And we have to talk about Dragon Age: The Veilguard. Because in case you weren't aware, Dragon Age is one of the most beloved IPs in gaming history. And I personally believe, as do many, that Dragon Age Origins was one of the best games ever created. It's what set this studio off to be one of the most loved studios for their creation, the creativity in the gameplay, and the experience that you get in Dragon Age games. Now, not everyone loved Dragon Age Inquisition, which was still almost a decade ago. It kind of reworked the way the gameplay played, and personally I did enjoy Inquisition, but it was kind of a rough take on what Dragon Age was. And so Dragon Age has kind of been in this limbo state for the last 6 or 7 years of wondering when we're going to get the next big true installment of Dragon Age that people could really sink their teeth into. Especially in a post BG3 world where you can see that when people put a ton of money into showing the RPG aspects of a game and giving more availability of choice for those characters, it can actually pay off in big ways. So on to modern day for Steam Next Fest and the Summer Games Fest, we saw the announcement of Dragon Age: The Veilguard, which is the newest installment of Dragon Age, and there has been a ton of mixed reviews. So today let's talk about my feelings and perspective on the title. It sees the return of some recognizable faces and characters, and it does sit in the Dragon Age universe, but honestly, I'm kind of confused, as are many, as to what this game is supposed to be. See, when I first saw the trailer you see on screen right now, I actually thought this was going to be more of like a dark kind of like Vermintide multiplayer game. It didn't really feel to me like a Dragon Age RPG where you're focused on the breadth of choice, the ability to strategize and customize your experience, and also even having romance and exploration as part of your storytelling journey. Especially with so much focus on the class and the name of every character that's built into this game, it felt very much like it was the announcement of a new hero shooter or some kind of cartoony, younger audience focused game in the Dragon Age universe. And this trailer is actually one of the most disliked videos on the release of Summer Games Fest and Steam Next Fest, as people are hating on it pretty hard. But things got even worse once we finally got the 20-minute gameplay reveal trailer just yesterday, going over the basics of the gameplay for Dragon Age: The Veilguard. Now, I'm usually Peter positive when it comes to games, as I know how hard it is to make games and publish them, and also how much you can just get caught up in your own passion and realize that no one's really on board with the direction you're going. And it pains me to say this, the general vibe that I got from the gameplay reveal trailer for Dragon Age: The Veilguard is, it felt plastic to me. I mean, it kind of, if you think about it, like if you had a hard plastic spear or hard plastic sword and you hit someone real hard with it, it would still hurt. It still kind of looks like the weapon, but that doesn't really inspire any awe. It doesn't really feel like it has a lot of oomph, and it doesn't make you smile or giddy when you look at it. And that's kind of the feeling I got from the Veilguard gameplay trailer. Now, they made a bunch of very strange choices in how they presented this. Generally, when it comes to Dragon Age games, you would expect a lot of tactical decision making, even if, and it seems like they're going with the direction of Inquisition's style combat, where you can actually control multiple characters and specify abilities, synchronize them together, and get really cool effects out of it. It seems like they're going that direction with Veilguard, but the entirety of the gameplay trailer was played at level 1 with a single weapon. They didn't swap any weapons. They didn't show anything besides this single weapon on this single character. They didn't show any synchronization of different abilities on different characters. No collaboration at all. They showed one ability on this character, and the rest of the time he was just dodging and basic attacking. It showed almost nothing about the possibilities for the gameplay mechanics for Veilguard, how you can actually use the abilities and what they look like, and what your customization is going to be like so you can specify your own playstyle. It just was a character flipping around, slashing with blades, and occasionally using this ranged lightning attack, which was one ability. He brought up the skill menu, which did have some extra slots on it and could possibly be more like Inquisition, and hopefully even more like Origins, with some minor transitions between there, depending on how they decide to do this system. But we got a 20-minute gameplay reveal after a 2-minute trailer showing off the game, and we don't really know a whole lot about it. It's very basic, very early game, very simplistic, and they showed almost nothing about the other characters. It was mostly just character trailers and animations and canned sequences like you see on screen, where when you walk forward, a canned event will happen, like the monsters will run and knock something over. There's some destruction in the environment, which you'll see here, where the character being played walks forward, goes up to a destructible object like a wooden barricade, and causes it to fall by whacking it a few times. And it just didn't feel very grandiose. It didn't, he just does the same attack over and over until it falls. That one piece breaks, and then there's a black screen transition to a canned animation where something falls down because of it. It's all like very movie-like and very presented this way. And it just, it feels like it's more of like an on-rails, very simplified, arcadey version of Dragon Age. And the downside of making games for a IP that are so like loved and thought of all the time is that when you don't give it your all, or you don't put it all the way forward, the expectations that people have for the game will end up crushing you in the process. And I think that's what's happening. This just feels a little plastic to me. It doesn't feel like a Dragon Age game. This feels like, you know, kind of like a Hogwarts Legacy, where it's just, it feels like it's going to be a fun ride one time. You'll probably enjoy it, and then you'll forget about it shortly after and probably never revisit it again, which is not what you'd expect from a Dragon Age game, where you play it multiple times, different romance partners, different paths, different choices. You have companions that you bond with or don't bond with, different builds, classes, combinations. All of the encounters can be played in different ways. You know, that's what you expect from a Dragon Age game, and it doesn't seem like we're getting it. Now, on top of that, it could be possible that they come out with some mid-game or late-game footage, and I think they probably should, just to show off what's possible for this game. Because very basic 3-dimensional action combat with dodging and attacking and occasionally using one ability is just not gonna cut it. Especially, I mean, if this was like the first title for a new studio making their first game, I think people would be pretty impressed. You would look at it and say, okay, great. I mean, this seems like it's well put together. It runs. It seems like there's some visual effort being put in here, and there's some gameplay mechanics you can play around with. I'm happy to give it a try and play it. But if it's from a beloved studio in an IP that everyone already has emotional investment into, and this is what we're getting, it just seems like it's such a big miss. So that's how I feel about the new Veilguard game. Unless I see more of mid-game or late game where you can actually make these kind of customizations, it feels almost like a movie that's been made into a game, where you have minimal like specific action segments in between where you play a little bit and then it's back to movies on top of that. And I'm just not sure that this is going to be the Dragon Age of the current era for gaming. But as always, you let me know what you think down below. If you found value in today's video, leave a like down below, leave a comment for the algorithm to help this video get seen by more people. And don't forget to check out my other channels for other content and other stuff and other things.